has all this information from the internet. It's there. You now need to know how to engage with that information. The people that will win in this AI era, right? People that know how to prompt it. People that know how to... Because you know there have been days that I've started the day not realizing that if I had AI, my morning would have been much more efficient because I was doing certain things the hard way. Yeah.
With the impressive portfolio.
it's because of the electrical engineers we can do our job. My name is Amos the math guy, and I'm a medical physicist and math and science curriculum writer. My goal is simple. Everybody must do calculus, statistics, linear algebra, and discrete math for fun. And so we want to see math education transform. That's part of what Amos the math guy is about. And by God's grace, I thank God I have met one of my very good friends, long lost relative, Yinka. Who is Yinka?
Who is Yinka, sir?
Yes.
Yinka was an electrical engineer, now a teacher, and he's been in education space for like 9-10 years now. So basically, again, just like Mr. Amos, the whole idea has just been how can we improve education? So we try to be very resourceful, come up with new ideas. You know, Mr. Amos, one of the funny things I was thinking about recently is that the number of things that I have come up with and discarded over the years. So sometimes when I'm going through my Google Drive or some, just a lot of things. So again, so we've just kept on innovating and recreating. Sometimes before you even finish that one, you discard it because a better one has kind of come. So that's basically what I am, or who I am. Yes, that's me. That's
okay,
me.
No problem. So one of the topics we're going to discuss, the main topic today is that AI is going to make modern education obsolete, at least in places where the infrastructure is available. So for example, in America, we cannot go back to September 2025 and just pretend that AI does not exist. This is a huge problem. So let's talk about just what can AI do for education and what is the future of education in a world where AI has been fine-tuned? What could things look like? I guess we have to even start from what is even the point of education? What is the point of educating the child, right? So let's just dissect this issue a little more. Because for me, one of the things I'm concerned about is that if you're using standardized tests as the basis for measure of success, what happens when knowledge is everywhere and I can learn as much as I want when I want? What does this all mean for education? So maybe just let's start there. What is even the point of education and what can AI do for education?
The point of education really is, I think, well, it has evolved over the years. The more we have had, the more we went through the ages, the more the idea of what education is has shifted. And right now, we don't even know what education is going to be.
Correct.
But what education does right now, for the most part, is education teaches you how to think.
Yes.
Right? So, and I think that's like the baseline. It's more important than the fact that you learn these equations, but is what it does to your mind as you learn them.
Correct.
You know, is the fact that education.
Is that what the most of society believes, though?
Sorry?
Do you think most of society says, I'm going to school to learn how to think?
No, but it doesn't change the fact that it happens nonetheless.
Wow.
Do you understand what I mean? So yes, we don't go in with that mindset, but it still happens nonetheless. So it doesn't make it any less effective.
Wow.
Now, but the issue would not be the fact that society thinks this way. It's why do educators think this way? Do educators understand that the point of educating children is to teach them how to think? Wow. I don't care if their parents don't know that that's why we are doing it. They can chase after the test scores, because again, in chasing after those test scores, you eventually achieve other things, right? Wow. Which is how to think.
Correct.
But the point is that educators should know that the end of this is learning how to think, you know, and all of that. So I like where you're going with this conversation, because now we're talking about AI. And I think there are, for me, two things. One is, if you can define what AI would be able to do, and what AI would not be able to do for education.
Correct.
Because there are things we have now that AI will not be able to replicate. If you have those two things defined, I think that will be able to really define the future of education.
Correct.
So let's go. What is AI going to be able to do?
Correct.
And what is AI not going to be able to do?
Okay.
You know, and then
go from there. So as far as what AI is able to do, right? By God's grace, some of my friends are actually at the cutting edge of machine learning. They went to Carnegie Mellon. They've been in all these places where they've been doing machine learning research for years. And so I've been watching some of their stuff, and I'm actually engaging with some of them. And AI, and then one of the professors of this person I'm talking about just released a book called Non-Computable You, What AI Can Never Do For You. Okay. So he is a professor of electrical engineering and an international fellow of the Electrical Engineering Society. And he's talking, saying, I know what AI is. We are the ones that built this thing. And so he's talked about things like AI does not know what love or emotions or this. It doesn't know that. So for those who are thinking that AI will solve all your problems, no. Exactly. And then there's even people that are trying to build relationships or like talking with the AI to like, because it connects better. No. You need human beings. But what AI can do well is that AI has all this information from the internet is there. You now need to know how to engage with that information. The people that will win in this AI era, right? People that know how to prompt it. People that know how to, because you know, there've been days that I've started the day not realizing that if I had AI, my morning would have been much more efficient because I was doing certain things the hard way. AI, I just said, AI, give me this information about this research topic. But here is the key. Before I prompted it, I still needed to know something. This is what is becoming a problem. Yesterday, somebody even mentioned, this is fascinating. Everybody in America, the left and the right are scratching their head in America right now, in the sense that they are saying in 1970, children would read about 6 books before they graduate for fun. They say about 40%. They said the numbers have flipped. People are not reading. AI can summarize. The way AI summarizes books, my brother, like this. Somebody told me to read one book. While they were telling me to read the book, I just put it in. After the call, I was, now granted, I read books, so I read books. See, I'm reading books, so. But my point is, I can summarize any book. But Amos also has been taught the importance of reading the whole book. So AI can summarize for you. AI has knowledge and information that can be used in different ways. But there are still areas where you and I have work to do. So anyways, that's what some things that AI can do.
But sorry.
Go ahead.
But don't you think that based off of the definition that we had of what education should be? Basically teaching you how to think. Right? And the fact that your mind expands as you learn. The question you should ask yourself now, or we should be asking ourselves, is that with the advent of AI, and this is what most of the schools are kicking against, especially in Nigeria, the advent of AI is seemingly stopping our children from thinking. And so it's now eroding education, as it were.
Correct.
And unfortunately, well, again, we are getting a bit ahead of ourselves here, but unfortunately, a lot of the younger generation are more adept at using AI than the older generation.
Correct.
So the older generation cannot even keep up with what the younger generation is doing in terms of AI and all of that. So that in itself, don't you think that that's a problem with AI? How do we, or where do we, okay, so let's say I'm a teacher watching this and I have this issue, and almost any teacher that teaches in a school that has the infrastructure to, that students can deal with AI is dealing with this problem.
Correct.
What would your communication or recommendation be for those systems or teachers?
You know what? I'll say this. There is only one form of education that can survive the AI age, and it's classical education. Let me explain. Classical education is the most rigorous critical thinking model. Here's what they do in classical schools. They read Aristotle. They read Plato. They read those people. And if you listen to Steve Jobs when he predicted AI years ago, here's what he said. He said, someday you'll be able to have a conversation in some sort of way, almost like with Aristotle. He used that example. Even Steve Jobs knew that critical thinking was critical. So in classical schools, you cannot graduate without reading many books. So it's important for teachers to realize. Now, I know every school cannot just become a classical school tomorrow. However, we have to find a way to get buy-in from our students so that they are reading. There is no shortcut on this. You have to read. And by reading, it's even teaching you to focus. Which is the other challenge these young people are going to face. So you bring some very interesting points up. In that article, and all these things I've been reading about, here's what they said that they're concerned about. Laziness. They said that because what AI does, I listened to one guy that is, see, I follow these guys at the cutting edge of AI because I'm trying to see what they are seeing about the implications of AI. And one of them, here's how he described AI. He said AI is like you are renting a brain. Listen, you can rent a brain. That is deep. Meaning that you literally have F9 in all the subjects. You now have AI, right? You now start renting it. Say, AI, oh yeah, please write me business plan. AI, do this. AI, do that. But honestly, the answer at the back of the book, I call it, is people need to learn to love learning. That really needs to happen. People need to learn to love learning. And one of the AI scientists from NVIDIA, I think she just moved from NVIDIA, she was saying that AI does not know how to be curious. See Galilei, in 1609, the guy made a telescope. He saw what was happening in the Netherlands. He now said, let me try. He was curious. His curiosity opened doors of innovation. That's where I'm concerned. We need to find ways to get kids to be curious.
Okay, so what's your take on this line of thinking, right? And I get that. And I think that's where I was coming to when I asked the question, say, what is AI not going to be able to do?
Yes.
Because one thing that AI will not be able to do, like you said, so basically human interactions, emotions and all of that. The summary of the word I can think of as a summary is inspire. right? AI would not be able to inspire anybody. AI would not be able to make you want to do anything. In fact, it does the opposite. And I think of AI as just like when the internet came, for instance, a lot of people thought the internet was going to break education.
Yes.
Right? A lot of people thought calculators was going to break math education.
Correct.
What calculators actually did was it opened us up to be able to learn more math.
Yes.
Right? I remember when the first time I ever saw a graphing calculator, and no, not the T9, whatever. I'm talking about Desmos.
Yes, Desmos.
My head just went kaboom. I was like,
wow,
what is this? I was like, this just makes everything make sense.
Yes.
And then it looked like a cheat in a sense, but right now Desmos is being used on the SAT.
Wow.
Yes.
Desmos.
On the SAT, yes. Digital SAT. So on your SAT, as you're taking your SAT right now, you open Desmos is a part of Blue Book. Yes.
Wow.
So it now means that their line of questioning has changed.
Wow.
Has changed to accommodate what Desmos is able to do. So Desmos is now a tool in learning. Again, why? Because Desmos is now something you use in the real world.
Correct.
For those of us that don't know what Desmos is just a graphing calculator, but it's really amazing.
Yep.
Anyway, so I'm just saying that I think that AI, one of the things that AI would also do when we all stabilize, is that I think AI would also become another tool for learning.
Wow.
Right? That would amplify the learning of people that actually want to learn and destroy the learning of people that don't want to learn. So as an educator, your inspiration game must be very strong. If I'm going to, we had a conversation yesterday when I spoke to you about something that I call teacher voice.
Yes.
And it's a bit difficult to put in words, but the way I'll put, there are just some people that when they speak, you want to listen.
Yeah.
I don't think we both have that, right? But it's not something that everybody does have,
correct,
right? And I feel like even educators, we need to learn that. We need to learn that. We need to learn, but a lot of educators do not have, it's more of, they don't see that role of, okay, so, and that interesting to you realize is that the last podcast we did, you notice that both the guys that came to speak to give feedback on us working with them, they lean more on mentorship than academic work.
Yes.
They lean more on mentorship than academic work. And I think that when we think about the future of education,
correct,
that is the thing that AI is not going to be able to do.
Correct.
And that's the thing that anybody that is going to position themselves well, all right, to continue to be a relevant educator would have to be someone that is able to inspire, all right? Really just able to inspire, able to speak, able to bring people out of, come down to their level, bring people from where they are to where they need to be. And then you must also have, what's the word to use now for educators? I think make enough investment in yourself to have something to inspire, use to inspire people. A lot of educators, they don't have anything.
Correct.
Right? In fact, I told you the other day that I've had a lot of parents, the conversation is, can I pay you to be in my child's space?
Wow.
And we're not talking about teaching maths or just pay you to be in because again, that's missing, right? From a lot of educators and stuff.
So, Ika, I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've ever seen it somewhere else, but Socrates taught Plato.
Yeah.
Plato taught Aristotle.
Yeah.
Aristotle taught Alexander the Great.
So all those guys are just like,
but do you see what was happening is Plato and Aristotle, for example, we'll just sit down. They'll just be hanging out. Learning is happening. Plato's academy, that's like one of the first universities.
Yeah.
This is 300 BC.
Yeah.
That is part of what teaching needs to become.
Yes, has to become.
People don't realize that sometimes it's about being around someone. So the point you made, like people want to, can you just be around this guy?
And here's another reason why I realize is that, you see, being able to inspire somebody is not a science. It's actually an art. Like, you can't predict. It's not like 1 + 1 is 2. You can't predict what will actually cause that inspiration to happen. So the best thing is just to leave your child in this place.
Just leave them.
Because you don't know
when the moment
is going to come and you can miss it. You see, look, so when parents come to me and say, like, again, serious talk, mentor my child, the average ninja today, the moment I call you and say I want to mentor you, they shut down. The moment you call it mentorship, the moment you call it, come, let's have, the moment it's that conversation,
correct,
they shut down. But when you have, like when I used to teach, for instance, and we both shared that we had that experience.
Yeah.
I'm teaching in the class and all of our class will usually end somewhere else.
Yes.
Because something will happen that will just take us off. But then if you started that way, you'll find out that they're hard. So you have to find those moments where you can just sneak up on them and just,
opportunity. Honestly, your goal when you're teaching some problems is you are looking for those. What I used to tell people, somebody said education is not filling a bucket, it's lighting a fire.
Yeah.
every teacher, when you go to class, your goal is, how can I light a fire?
Yeah.
And it's almost like this thing too, you're watching the rhythm of the class.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might have to stay somewhere. What this would require for teacher training. So let me talk about this for teacher training. Before I do that, actually, this is kind of cool because I'm teaching at a teacher training school now, right?
Yeah.
Graceland College in Dallas. And that's one of the schools that wants to help more teachers in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And this is part of the vision we want to bring to those teachers. How can we raise a group of teachers that are efficient and that can think about inspiring the children?
Yeah.
Inspiration is the word.
Yeah.
AI cannot inspire you.
Yeah.
We've had Udemy, we've had edX, we've had a lot of, like, do you know somebody said they put Stanford online, they put Harvard online.
Yes.
It's there.
The problem
is not that.
The problem is not, there was something that I said yesterday, I think when we were in the vehicle, when I said that, and I'm hoping I put this in words the right way, but I said that a child that is 100% inspired,
yes,
with 30% of learning opportunity,
wow,
will do better than someone that has 100% of learning opportunity, but 30% inspiration.
Wow.
The problem is, look, now they have everything at their fingertips. They are doing nothing with it. So even if AI becomes everything it can be,
yes,
you cannot force the horse to drink water.
You can take the horse to water.
So the tools will be there looking at them and all of that, and everybody just is just like, look, I'm not. So the problem, and that's one of the things that, like we keep saying, is as an educator, you must make an investment in. And really, one of the things that I do with my tutors now is because, so when I first started tutoring, the next thing would have been to just get somebody to join me in teaching and all of that, right? Mm-hmm. And if I had parents that were happy to have me come in once a week and maybe home lesson, that they just needed Mr. Inka. Anyway, so I tried it once and I had a tutor go in that sat with a child, and I said, by all standards, he's a good tutor. Yep. But he just did one thing and the other, and I was just like, no, this can't work. So when we left, I just paid him, and while I was working, that I just decided that, look, I have to start a hub. Yeah. So the hub that you saw,
yes,
the goal of the hub is not to bring students in, is to bring teachers in.
Wow. Because
when you come, you learn of me.
Wow.
You learn of how we operate, how we relate with students. When you go, you replicate me.
Wow. So
that's one of the reasons why, despite, as we've been trying to, pivot and all of that, the business, right? The hub stays, right? Because there are many things that, again, people have thought processes and all of that has, they've carried for years, how they learned, how they interacted with their teachers. So you find out that you really cannot, you can go and do a one-off training. It doesn't change anything.
Correct.
It doesn't change. Like, you can go do a one-off training. You can do an interview and the person speaks English. It doesn't change the fact that the person doesn't know how to actually relate to. The person probably has pride that is like, and the person doesn't know.
Correct.
Right. But these are things that, by the help of the Holy Spirit, I was able to meander, get information. Oh, Yinka, do it this way, don't do it that way, and all of that. And so now I'm now able to replicate to a certain degree.
Correct.
At least there's a high level of, I can trust what you're sending out. So I'm saying, when it comes to teacher training, I think that in terms of being able to train teachers that inspire, having a system, I think we should think more of systems than conversations.
Correct.
Yes, let's think more of systems than conversations. Let them see those ideas work. Yes. Right? Let them see that. I mean, all my tutors are very young, yet I'm not saying we have never, I'm saying we can never have a case of disrespect.
Wow.
And we teach the most privileged children. Like, it cannot even happen.
Yeah.
Like, the things we call disrespect are things that, because we make such a big deal out of those things anyway. But because of the way the relationship is and all of that, you just find that it almost never happens.
Wow.
So for educators, right, to stay relevant in the next 10 years, right, you have to make that effort to be an inspiration.
Wow.
In whatever way you can. Yes, sir.
So inspiration, mentorship, and then again, AI is just a tool.
It's just a tool.
But if you can inspire people right and they click into the AI, there is no limits. There's no limits. But that's key.
Yes.
You know, one thing that happened to me one time, I was teaching a topic on matrices, and it was finding the determinant of a matrix. Yeah. And so, Amos, math guy, if you don't mind, let me use one quick math example. When you find the determinant of a matrix, you are pretty much multiplying two numbers. You multiply two numbers and subtract another two numbers. Yeah. That's about it. But what happened during that day was there were students in the class that in the past, they had never seen pattern recognition with such clarity until they hit that matrix and they were like, I can do it. Here's what happened in that class. I still remember. This was in 2012, 2013. Yeah. They begged me for more problems. Give us more. Give us more. Because they saw the pattern and they were inspired and they realized, I can do this. Teachers, here's what it comes down to. We really have to think about these children that are coming to us in an age of excessive knowledge and information and say, how can I inspire you to care? Yeah. How can I inspire you to want to go further? Yeah. Here's one way it comes in. I'll just use this as we begin to land our plane. Guys, in 1831, Michael Faraday, hey.
Mr. Amos has gone to 1891.
Hey.
When is that year? 1891, 1972. Hey. Just know that, yeah. So I think I should just leave this place. In
Guys,
1891.
This is how we have to inspire the students. We have to bring them to a time where the concept we're about to teach them did not exist yet. Hey, what was keeping Michael Faraday awake? There was no electricity, and he was beginning to wonder, is the work of this guy in Ostad in Denmark or this guy in Italy, Voltaire? You people have heard of Volt. That's Voltaire now. Yeah. Alessandra Voltaire and blah, blah, blah. Guys, if you set the stage right for your students, bring them into that era, which you can use AI to even help you script what I'm saying.
Yes.
Bring them to that era, show them what passion drove Michael Faraday, that on Christmas Day he was at work.
Yes.
On Christmas Day he was researching this.
You actually, so just yesterday when we went to those schools, did you notice that just from the way you spoke, right, and the way we handled the entire space and we made the space easy and all of that.
Correct.
Did you actually notice that children were talking about things like teleportation?
Yes.
Can you imagine them going to talk to their sound? You can't. For most of them, the space, the environment created. So I'm just telling you that what you're saying, you actually did it yesterday.
By God's grace.
You actually did it yesterday.
And that's my hope. And even with, and I'll talk about Graceland College as we end, because I want to bring that point up. Some of what we're discussing, we're going to need help to scale it up. So partnering with teacher training places will help. And having this new era, a new realm of teachers that people will look at and good mornings, another level. Now, again, teachers, thank you for what you do. But a time has come using AI to inspire your kids. We will redeem education and teaching as a profession in this nation and on this continent by God's grace. So what I was going to say with Michael Faraday, and then I'll land, let me leave you guys with this story. Michael Faraday in 1831 was working with electricity and magnetism. His work laid the groundwork for James Clerk Maxwell, who gave us Maxwell's equations. Guys, when you tell your students that there is a reason for what they are learning and then guide them in the story, then you now give them the equations chapter to do. Which is better? What I just described, or good morning class, here are Maxwell's equations. There's 4 of them. Solve them and go home.
I just remember that I learned Maxwell's equations in university.
that Maxwell came from the work of Faraday.
I know what, like, I just remember, I can't remember what
Hey, my brother, maybe I need to give you science history too.
Oh my God.
I'm joking. I'm just joking.
I'm ready for money right now. But yeah, I get what you're saying, right? I get what you're saying.
I mean?
Yeah.
But brother,
it was lost on me, university, lost on all of us. We just memorized the entire bunch and wrote our exams and I had an A in that course, funny enough.
Electromagnetism. So that's where it comes down to everybody. We need to inspire teachers to be a new breed. The time has come. So follow us. So this is Amos the Math Guy and Yinka.
I think my Instagram is Teacher Yinka.
Oh, Teacher Yinka. Put it any other channel. So if you guys are editing team, please add all the channels. Put it in the description. By God's grace, Africa, here we come.
Here we come.
God bless.
Peace and out.